Hello, I'm TheSuffolkRam from Rand Nerds. Welcome to my review of The Magician's Apprentice, the first episode of the new series Doctor Who. Pre-warner, like if you want all my reviews, there will be minor spoilers ahead. I do try and keep things as spoiler-free as possible, but for some things I have to talk about, I will have to reveal things, and for some things may slip out, so if you don't want anything spoiled, turn off now. So the episode has an interesting start with it. It starts with what looks like a World War I era, but very early on you really learn quite quickly it's not World War I. And it starts with, now this is quite interesting, there's a small child stuck in this war zone, and they've also want to sort of put in a bit of danger of a minefield type thing. They couldn't do it, so they've had this what I call the field of hands, or a hand field if you prefer. We see it take out one of the soldiers, but this child is trapped in the field and can't move. It's clearly a minefield analogy. Doctor comes in the nick of time to sort of obviously in the cusp of rescuing them, but shock horror, and it's the end of the cold open. It is a spoiler, but it's within the first 3 minutes of the episode, so I think it's fair game. Child reveals his name to be Davros. Now, clearly, as we all know from drama programs, there can only be one person. If someone has a significant to the history of the program, and they have a name, that name is obviously only that person can only ever have it. So there can be no other Davros in the world. Before we know, on Skaro, obviously Davros' home planets, Davros might have been a common name. It might be as common as John, or Fred, or David. It could be, you don't know. But that child clearly is the Davros, and the Doctor has a bit of a moment, and it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger as to what the Doctor's going to do. Most episodes spent people trying to find the Doctor. There's this quite sort of creepy dude who's going around looking for him. Nice little call out to the war machines, heart away. At least I'm assuming it's deliberate, but it must be because it's just so close in his style of voice, and he almost quotes Wotan, the computer from the war machines, almost virtually word for word. Must be a deliberate reference. I can't believe that was done accidentally. But really need to see that in there. I quite like that. I like when they do these little sort of callbacks, and it's a relatively minor callback. Really, it's not like a major serial, but that was quite neat to put in there. The villain himself is quite creepy. He's got some neat sort of CGI, which I'll talk about a bit later, and some neat sort of tricks up his sleeves. I've been also looking for them. One of them, and this is a minor spoiler, but it was pretty heavily sort of announced. If you actually get your head completely buried in the sand. Missy returns, wanted to meet up with Clara, who's also back, unfortunately. Wanted to meet up, and she's just trying to track down Doctor in a way, and they find him. When they do find him, they go to where he is. He makes an entrance. Now, this entrance is going to divide people, I think. You're either going to like this, or you're going to hate it. I liked it. I saw it, and I laughed. I was not expecting it. I was expecting him to make an entrance, and I guess how it was going to be, but the added on bit, without reading too many things, I was not expecting. I laughed out loud. Now, some people they're going to absolutely really hate it. I can tell right now people are going to hate it. I really liked it, and I laughed out loud. I almost sort of went, yes, brilliant. So I'm probably not going to get burnt at the stake, but I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a neat little entrance. I thought it felt very in character. I could imagine that this Doctor particularly doing that as a bit of a lark. I thought it was brilliant. Eventually meet Doctor. Eventually he goes off to meet, and you can guess he's going to go meet Al. He's been looked for by, and it's pretty obvious. Again, minor spoiler. It's Davros, clearly, obviously. Doctor goes to meet him, and we end up seeing some. Well, if there's Davros there, you know what else is going to be there? Dialects. And so obviously we end up going and we get to see some dialects. Now what's quite neat is we get to see some old school dialects. Now I can't remember seeing any of the modern dialects, the ones they did a few series back, which looked stupid. Well, I didn't mind them too much, but they just didn't look quite dialects. Can't say I've seen one of them, but there was a lot of old school design dialects around, which I thought was quite neat. Like to see some of the old designs come back. Very cool. So they're back. End on a cliffhanger. A interesting cliffhanger that obviously I won't go into details about. But overall, slow beginning, ends up really good. I really did actually quite enjoy the episode. I thought the episode was written, at first I thought this is a bit pants, but actually fact, once I got into it I thought the episode was written really well. So overall, really good little episode. On to the characters of this episode. Now I've already mentioned Missy's back. played by the same actress whose name I did write down, but I've left a bit of paper out of range. I can't bother to stop this to go get it, so I have to forget her name. I like Missy. She gets all the best lines in the episode, to be fair, and all the cool moments, really, or semi-cool moments of the whole episode, which is really... So I'm glad to see she's back. I hope they don't overuse her. I hope she doesn't appear too often, because that's a danger they could have. But I'm really glad to see her back. I'm really enjoying her on screen. Her all the time the Doctor on screen works well. Neat to see she's back. Some interesting revelations. The way she just wraps up all the characters is brilliant. So glad she's back. Hope we can see more of her in the future. Keep her in there. Brilliant. Clara is also back. Now, I've been very mean to Clara as a character in my previous episode reviews. I stand by what I said. I don't think she's a very good character. She has her moments. I think a lot of it comes down to poor writing. I also have always said Jeremy Coleman I've never thought was a brilliant actress, but I think I might be being unfair. I might be sort of saying that, but actually it might be her writing that's the issue rather than her. I think probably a bit of both, if I'm honest. But she's bad. She's tolerable in this episode. She's not too bad. Sometimes she can be actually a pain in the arse. I hate her. I'm glad she's leaving at the end of the series, which was announced by Jeremy Coleman she was going to leave. I think she should have left last season. I don't think she should have come back. I think her character had run its course last season, and so I'm pretty glad to see she has going to go, but she should have gone last season and we should have some fresh blood in. But obviously I want to tie a few things together. But overall she's quite tolerable, and we'll see how she goes this season. I might get to this season and think, well, I wish they didn't get rid of her. We'll see. I think more likely I'm glad she'll be going rather than the other option, but we'll see. Other main character obviously is going to be, well, I mentioned the Doctor. I mentioned he always has an excellent entrance. Very much playing like he did last year. I still think this characterisation Doctor is really good. I really like it. I know, again, a few people have been a bit divided by this, but I think he's brilliant. I like his more aloof personality. So I'm glad to see he's back, and I'm enjoying him as well. So keep up that work, guys. It's really neat. Also, the other main character is obviously Davros himself. Good to see him back in again. And he's always, and when well written, when he's not written quite such like a megalomaniac, he's actually quite an interesting character. Again, depends on the writer. And he seemed relatively well written in this episode. So glad to see him returning. It does end on a cliffhanger, I will say, this episode. So we'll see more of him next week. Of course, he might have been killed in the first 5 minutes, but he wasn't. So we'll see more of him next week. So it's going to be an interesting cliffhanger. One thing, just going really briefly back to the Doctor, which I did forget to mention. Doctor's gone a bit more, he goes a little bit darker in this episode. Not a lot, not as much as last season, but a little bit hinting at darkness. Now, I don't mind a bit of darkness in an episode, but it's not going to go overboard with the darkness. So, don't go to a Colin Baker era. It's got the main family programme, so keep it up, guys. Don't go too mad with the Doctor's going a bit dark. Keep that, rein that in. But yeah, overall, I accepted what they did, and I thought it was okay. It was acceptable and believable within the episode. So, quite neat episode. So, the character's been relatively well done this episode. Onto the CGI. There is actually a great deal of CGI in it. There's quite a lot of physical effects in it, which were quite neat. Some of the CGI was a little bit convoluted with the computer systems, but they always usually are. Some of the bits later on, where we see a city, is really neat. Beautiful. You see it in the trailers, the actual same city. It looks pretty amazing. I'm really quite impressed. So some cool CGI in there. Other effects are also pretty darn cool in it as well. I can't pick up some of the neat stuff out ruining the episode, so I'll just there's some neat stuff in there. But otherwise, I'm just going to leave it as is. So overall, I enjoyed The Magician's Apprentice. I thought it was despite starting off quite short, I thought overall it was well written. I like the way the characters developed. I like the way it ended. I'm looking forward to the next part. It's got some really nice, neat bits in it. So overall, I think it's a good episode to start series with. Compared to last year's opening episode, which I thought dragged out, this one's definitely a lot better. It's by going back to the short episode format, it's worked a lot better. It hasn't felt dragged out. So definitely a lot better episode to start the series with, and I'm looking forward to the next part. So look forward to then, but definitely worth watching. So that's my review over the first Doctor Who over. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be also continuing the reviews next week with the next part, which is on a slightly later time, 7:45, because the BBC can't seem to have the idea of putting something at a regular time slot. Don't seem to compete with them. They like to move things around every 2 minutes each week, but another gripe for another day. So until next week, thank you very much for watching. I've been TheSuffolkRam. By all means, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. We do lots of other stuff on here as well, not just reviews. I do Let's Plays, we do podcasts, we talk mainly about gaming, but we do have bits and pieces on here as well. I do the odd video where I ramble on about a few things. But please subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you on a future review. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.